So you're seeing correctly, those are not cash game chips. We decided to take a trip up to the Borgata in Atlantic City. Took a shot at the 500 plus 50 Survivor tournament. 1 in 10 players made 5K. Grinded out throughout the whole day. I made a mistake early on. I didn't really write any hands down or anything like that. Just wasn't even planning on having it in the vlog. That's why I didn't get any like fun shots of the city or anything like that. But it's pretty funny what happened afterwards. But we ended up finishing around 31st. There were 150 entries, so top 15 brought the 5K. We didn't get it done, so we decided to leave. It was pretty late at night. My original plan was to just play the tournament, and then if we got knocked out early, grind some 2-5 cash up there, because it's always pretty good on the weekends. So we decided to instead grind all day in the tournament, walk away empty-handed. So I decided to drive home, and I'm about 5 minutes from my house, and
Man and beast collide on the back roads and byways of America. Roadkill, caught on tape.
Can't believe those assholes taped over the game.
so I ended up hitting a deer at 70 miles an hour on the highway, just about 5 minutes from my house. It jumped over the center divider and just landed right in front of my car. So the car is out of commission for a couple weeks, so didn't get much done. I was able to borrow my friend's car, my girlfriend's car, and get some rides to the casino. So we did put in a few cash games, but this was also the week of the Mount Airy Casino 15K free roll. It's a casino by me. I qualified. It was an invitational. Most top 100 players with the most amount of hours got a seat, and we got a ride there and decided to play it. Had a lot of fun. Not a lot of footage. There's no recording allowed at this casino. We did, however, get some footage. We ended up doing a 13-way chop. It was kind of interesting how the tournament played out. Kind of just grinded all day. The structure was super turbo. It was actually a backwards tournament. It started out with 20-minute levels for the first 4 minutes, and then 15-minute levels after the antes kicked in. So super turbo. The blinds went up really fast. They really wanted to get this thing over with, but I was kind of hanging on to 4 bigs, 5 bigs for a few levels, just jamming and making moves, just staying alive level by level, until I got moved to the table with the one guy who didn't want to do a 32-way chop, which I was actually, I voted for when one guy just stood up and proclaimed that, we should do it, because I only had like 3 big blinds at the time. But as the field dwindled, I got moved to that gentleman's table who denied the chop, and as soon as I knocked him out, one of the players came over and said, can we chop it 13 ways? And, I had just chipped up after knocking him out 3 straight hands. We built up quite a stack, and honestly didn't really want to chop, but on second thought, I looked around at the field that was there, and I thought to myself, let these guys have their fun. These are guys I play cash games with all the time. Only about 2 out of the 13 were players that I didn't really recognize, but as for like the other 10 players, we're sort of friendly in the sense of the word that when I play at their games, they do give me action, and I give them action back. So for me to deny them of their day, so to speak, would not be too classy in my eyes, as I'm going to play them in cash games anyway and probably get that money in the long term anyway. So did decide to be a nice guy and chop it up 13 ways. We ended up walking away with $1,000 in profit after taxes and everything else. So not a bad result. 5 hours work, free tournament. $1,000 cash. I'll take that any day.
See Becky, guys, right here.
Yeah, now here's the problem.
What's that?
Fuck you get all them chips from?
I just got them. I was down to 2 bigs. So the tournament was on Friday. The next day, I decided to go up there and play some 2-5, which usually is running on Fridays and Saturdays up there. They don't get it during the week. So I was looking for some of the tournament players to be at that cash table, and they were. Just, crazy cash game. Couldn't really make any moves or anything like that. This was not the table that was to be bluffed. There were 2 to 3 regular players there that are fairly decent. 2 of those players were on tilt. I think one was stuck probably about 3K, 3,500 maybe in this game, and it's a $500 max buy-in, so 7 buy-ins deep. But we did get into 2 spots that I can talk about. Other than that, pretty flat session. We end up taking an L on the session for about 750, I think, somewhere around there. But 2 hands from that session we can go over. The first hand, we have King 8 suited of spades on the button. It's 500 effective hand. It's basically a limp poker game. There's been a lot of limping going on. If there's a raise, everybody that limped calls. So there's 3 limps to us, and I just decided to call here. There's no point in, making it 45 and getting 5-6 callers, because that's pretty much the way the game was running. So we end up going 5 to the flop. The flop is Queen of Spades, 7 of Diamonds, 8 of Diamonds, and there's $27 in the pot. It checks around to me, and I just decided to take a stab here. Just decide to bet. I figured if anybody had a queen, they would probably bet, and I want to protect my hand. I make it $20 to go. The last limper calls. So the limper closest to me calls. The turn is the ace of clubs. There's $67 in the pot, and the limp caller does something strange. He leads into us for $40. So I think it's a peculiar bet. Don't think he has much of anything, honestly. So I do decide to call here, thinking that we may have some showdown value and get him to bluff a missed flush draw. And I think we can raise here sometimes as well. But that's what we decide to do. The river is the Queen of Spades. There is $147 in the pot. Our opponent pauses and then checks. So at this point, I'm thinking that he could possibly have something like an ace because our hand is pretty face up as a queen. So I do decide to bet here, and I bet around $90 to make it look like value. He does tank for around 2 minutes, so I'm leaning more towards that he had something like that, of that nature, or possibly a pocket pair like 10s or 9s. But he did end up folding. I did show this hand just to see a reaction here, and nothing really, so he may have also had something like a flush draw and just given up on the river. So our last hand for this vlog, we have Ace Queen of Clubs. We open for $25, and no surprise, there are 4 callers to the regular player stuck 7 buy-ins I mentioned earlier. He kind of paused and looked at all the money in the pot already and jammed all in for $240 total. This is the type of game where if I flat here, I may get 1 or 2 more callers. So I feel like with the opponent we are facing, we are never crushed here, and at worst we're flipping to a low pair. We also block aces, queens, and ace-king, so I decide on the 4-bet jam here just to cut off the rest of the table for our full $500 stack. The other callers pause like they want in, of course, but they decide on a fold. The board runs out, 10, 10, 5, 6, 3, rainbow. Our opponent shows us pocket 7s, so we end up losing that flip there. Over the course of 4 hours, these 2 spots were the best I could get into with the players that actually think a little bit. So you can't win them all. I decided to cut the session off there. So we lose 728 in 4 hours. We played 2 other 2-5 sessions earlier in the week and won about 1K. We lost the 550 Survivor at the Borgata, but picked up the 1K in the free roll at Mount Airy. So it's been a bumpy ride, up and down to say the least, and I'm looking to smooth it over for this next week's vlog. I'm also going to be dropping down in stakes on the online 6max challenge, as I've noticed that it's pretty tough to find 100 NL games of 6max running on Ignition. So I am going to drop down on 50 NL and start that over, and I'll keep you posted on those happenings as we progress. Should get about 1,000 hands or so before the next vlog. But other than that, I just want to say thank you for watching the videos. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the little alert bell so you get alerts when I am posting a new vlog. And as always, keep grinding and level up.